Ito ang News TV Live. Dinidinig po ngayon ng Senado ang tungkol sa management at maintenance ng MRT-3. Panorin po natin.
Good morning po, Madam Chair. Thank you for inviting us this afternoon. Ma'am, very short presentation lang po. 3 slides for quick background and 5 slides po for the presentation. Okay. Ma'am, I believe you have a copy po of our presentation in printout form, so we will proceed na po. Ma'am, siguro just as a background, we'd like to contextualize yung railway sector po natin doon sa buong Build program ng administration ni Pangulong Duterte. And essentially, ma'am, the reality now, next slide please, is that we only have 77 kilometers of regularly operating railways. Ma'am, the pipeline consists of 1,900 kilometers by 2020-22. And essentially, the breakdown of that would be the PNR in the Luzon system, the Metro Manila lines, the Visayas lines, which would largely be comprised of yung sa Cebu po natin, and of course, the Mindanao Railway. Next slide, please. Just for a quick breakdown, ma'am, and this is also how we classify our job. Meron po kami doon sa pinakakanan na column nung tinatawag po naming ongoing development or yung mga pinag-aaralan na proyekto. Second column po, ma'am, from the right are those that are already ongoing detailed design as well as those na ongoing bidding po. And yun naman pong third column from the right or second column from the left, yun naman po yung mga under construction already in different stages. And ma'am, yung 77 kilometers po nating sinasabi na operational railway is nandun po sa pinakakaliwa. Now, MRT-3 is one of our 4 operating lines with 16.9 kilometers. And ito po yung konteksto niyan. Next slide, please. Currently, ma'am, in Metro Manila, we have lines 1, 2, and 3 operating, and we have PNR operating as well, although offering a very limited service. On this slide, ma'am, nakalatag lahat po ng proyekto natin for Metro Manila. Yung dotted lines po are the ones that are in different stages of implementation. So that just gives us a context po nung railway program po at railway projects and Department of Transportation. Now, next slide, we go to MRT-3. Just 3 quick topics po for us to brief Madam Senator. We have a couple slides lang po on the current situation, another 2 slides on the way forward, and a 5th slide po on the bus augmentation program na naririnig na rin po siguro natin na inumpisahan namin noong Pebrero 1. Next slide, please. Ma'am, yung current situation po natin ngayon, we characterize with 3 main thematic areas. Una po, ma'am, maintenance in the last 8 years or 7 years has been difficult because we had a series of short-term service providers. Actually, ma'am, kahit nung nandyan pa po si Sumitomo noong 2010 to 2012, technically speaking po, those are 4 6-month extended contracts. Now, why do we highlight this, ma'am? Because when you have short-term contracts po na disincentivize po yung service provider natin from making the necessary investments to properly maintain the system. So those are investments in people, in spare parts, and in their own equipment.
But they were paid 54 million a month?
Our most recent po, ma'am, was paid 54 million a month.
Even at 6 months, okay.
Yes, ma'am. Now, ma'am, another consequence po of the short-term structure is it incentivizes po yung tinatawag namin na running to the ground practices. Na ilalabas mo nga po halimbawa yung trend, pero alam mo po na 2 or 3 taon ka lang doon sa sistema, at the end of the contract period, very lax po yung tinatawag natin na handover condition requirement ng system. Halimbawa po, ang nakalagay lang, dapat yung condition ng system, same level of spare parts, wala po siyang mga requirements at handover that would incentivize na patakbuhin ng maayos yung sistema. So running to the ground po yung tinatawag namin dyan. Ma'am, yung pangalawang item po sa maintenance ay yung paggamit po ng reconditioned at mga hindi po OEM, yung original equipment manufacturer na spare parts. Isa ma'am dun sa mga nakita po namin sa MRT-3, halimbawa na lang po sa signaling, meron po tayong ibang mga critical components ng signaling tulad po ng ATP sensor natin as well as yung mga ATP modules po natin na hindi na OEM. Now ma'am, yung system po kasi natin unfortunately is a proprietary system by Bombardier. And we have had discussions po with them and there are some concerns with using po critical components of the signaling na hindi po galing sa kanila at hindi po nila certify. So that is one issue po. Traction motors din po natin ma'am have some of our traction components instead of being replaced are just reconditioned. So again po, that would have some impact on reliability. Siguro maaari po na pagkatapos mong mapalitan ng reconditioned na pyesa ay tatakbo po siya, pero not as reliable as it would have been had we replaced them with new spare parts. Third item po ma'am under maintenance is yung early track deterioration. Usually po, railway tracks when properly maintained can reach a lifespan of 100 years. Ma'am, wala pa pong 20 years yung mga relays natin and we already have to replace all of them. In fact, ma'am, one-third, actually less than one-fourth of them have been replaced in 2016, 7,000 linear kilometers. Ngayon po ma'am, nakaprograma tayong palitan lahat except for yung 7,000 linear kilometers kasi sira po talaga.
Bakit?
Ma'am, it's a function po of maintenance. There's a regular cycle of grinding. There's a regular cycle of fixing your wheels.
So would you say that we started having these problems when we removed Sumitomo initially in 2012 ba?
Ma'am, we couldn't exactly pinpoint po kung
When the
kailan nag-umpisa.
deterioration
But ma'am,
started.
it's in a really deteriorated state.
How long will it take for you to replace all of those
2
wheels?
years, ma'am.
2 years.
2 years po because our rehabilitation assumption is that we will keep the line running. Meaning po ma'am, we only have a window during our non-revenue hours at night when we can do this replacement. So yan po ma'am yung 3 key items that we wish to highlight po on the maintenance aspect. Ma'am, yung pangalawa pong major bullet is yung underinvestment natin in renewals and upgrades. We always compare ma'am a railway system to a car. Para pong kotse na dapat pinapa-tune up mo, pinapa-change oil mo every 1,000 or 5,000 kilometers. Yung mga components po na kahit na anong sistema ng relays ay meron din pong regular upgrade or overhaul cycle. I'll just give 2 examples, ma'am, which are actually 2 of our biggest issues. Yung mga bagon po natin are by design supposed to be overhauled every 8 years. Yung first round po ng overhaul noong 2007 to 2009 was completed by Sumitomo and their partner Mitsubishi Heavy. Kung bibilangin po natin yung 8 taon mula po noong 2008, due na po dapat ang overhaul natin nitong 2016, late na rin po yung 2017. Now, part po ng kontrata ng previous natin na maintenance service provider ay yung pag-overhaul po ng 43 out of our 72 LRVs. As of November 2017, when we took over, base na rin po doon sa general overhaul schedule that was provided by them, dapat naka-26 na po sila, 3 lang po yung natapos. So yun po yung sa 43 na mga bagon out of 72. Doon naman po sa 29 kasi hindi ko po alam kung bakit hindi na lang nilahat sa isang kontrata. But meron pong balancing 29 na mga bagon na ang plano naman po dapat is ang mag-overhaul is separate contract. And unfortunately ma'am, meron pong consultant na kinuha ang MRT-3 back then na hindi po natapos yung pag-prepare ng terms of reference and ng budget for the 29 na mga bagon. Hindi po kasi madali gumawa ng terms of reference para po sa mga bagon kasi each bagon po iba yung problema. So, masinsinan po yung prosesong kinakailangan para po talaga ma-define kung ano yung extent of overhaul na kinakailangan. So, hindi rin po na-overhaul yung 29. So, overdue na po talaga yung buong fleet natin for overhaul. Yung sa signaling naman po, that is usually upgraded every 10 to 15 years following international best practice. Kung bibilangin po natin yan mula nung nag-umpisa tayong tumakbo noong taong 2000, dapat po by 2015 ay napalitan na rin po natin yan. And finally po ma'am, yung tinatawag namin na fragmentation dun sa pamamaraan kung paano natin itinayo, ini-operate, mini-maintain yung ating riles, very fragmented po talaga. For example, ma'am, yung tinatawag po na yung claim of ownership po ni MRTC, tayo po ay nagbabayad ng renta kasalukuyan po $12 million per month. So, nagbabayad po tayo ng $12 million per month as rental para po doon sa MRT-3. Operations po, ma'am, ang nag-handle po ay tayo through DOTR MRT-3.
Hanggang kailan yung kasunduan na yan with MRTC ba?
Yes, ma'am. 2025 po. Ma'am, magsi-step up pa po siya ng 12.5 million by next year.
Okay.
Operations po, ma'am, average po since 2014, ang budget po natin dyan ay 1 billion pesos every year. So, kung mapapansin niyo po, ma'am, sa budget, tatlong linya po dyan ang nakaukol sa MRT-3. Una po yung tinatawag nating subsidy. Yan po yung binabayad sa...
Magkano yung subsidy?
Yun po ma'am yung $12 million per month. Yun
Okay.
po yung renta.
Okay.
Yung pangalawang linya naman po natin sa budget na nakaukol po sa MRT-3, yan po yung tinatawag natin na operations and maintenance for MRT-3 na
Magkano
line
yun?
item. Average po ma'am 1.8 billion from GAA 2014 to 2017. In 2018 po nasa 1.7 billion. Pagkatapos po ma'am, yung rehabilitation and capacity expansion naman po, ito yung pangatlong linya natin sa GAA. From 2014 po to 2017, that's a total of 6.3 billion pesos. This covers po so many different contracts. I think po the count is at 20 or 30 different rehab and capex contracts. So iba-ibang kontrata, iba-ibang contractor, iba-ibang supplier. So ito po yung tinatawag namin na very fragmented way that we have operated, maintained, to a certain extent, tried to rehabilitate the system in the last few years.
Okay, so just to recap, 1.8 average billion per year for maintenance and operation, about $12 million per month on subsidy alone, which is the biggest
Yes, ma'am.
part of the budget, and 6.3 billion for the rehabilitation of about 20, which involves 20 to 30 contracts.
Tama po, ma'am.
Bakit? Ba't tayo ganitong klaseng ano? Ganito ba talaga?
Ma'am, mahirap po pag ganito. At siguro po, ma'am, nakikita na po natin yung consequence po nung ganitong klaseng approach. Dahil hindi lang po magkatugma, halimbawa, yung isang kontrata in terms of implementation, ma-delay yung isang kontrata, mag-fail yung bid sa isa, wala na po yung buong programa. So, yun po yung isa sa difficulties natin. Ma'am, by the way po, wala pa po dun yung 4.5 billion para dun sa bagong mga bagon. Kasi kasama po yun sa CAPEX.
Bigyan mo ako ng isang example ng 6.3 billion. Ano dun? Like, give me an example of the 20 or 30 contracts. Kanino?
Okay, ma'am. Ganito po. Ma'am, actually, we shared po a copy of all of the rehab contracts since 2014. Pakibigay niya. Okay, so halimbawa po ma'am, 50 million for the elevators and escalators, that's a separate contract. The road rail vehicle is a separate contract, 55 million. Rail grinding, yun ma'am siguro okay lang kasi supply lang yun eh. Halimbawa ma'am, yung repair natin ng wheel lathe machine is a 520 million.
Sige. Okay na, I just wanted to get an idea what it is. Alright, let's go back to the main questions here. Kasi if we can answer this, sa mga spare parts, yung mga main spare parts that are vital to the proper and timely operations of the trains, have those parts arrived?
Ma'am, we'll forward to slide 8, please. Previous slide lang. Okay. Previous, okay. So, ma'am, not all spare parts have arrived, ma'am, to answer po the question. I'll hand over, ma'am, to our Director for Operations in a bit, but I will just give a broad intro po on this. Since we took over po, ma'am, last November 6 of 2017, we established a special bids and awards committee for the fast-track procurement of the spare parts that we need to gradually restore po yung mga trend. As of December 29 of 2017, we have completed po the procurement of our first batch of spare parts. The delivery lead time po for that first batch is 30 days to 6 months. We have already submitted also po yung aging ng delivery schedule natin, and nag-umpisa na po yung dumating ngayong February. Sa kasalukuyan po, ma'am, today we have on average 7 running trains. Ang projection po namin is so long as wala pong mag-down na additional train for the rest of February, we will have spare parts arriving that would allow us to bring the number of trains back to 10 ngayon pong end of February. Ma'am, our Director for Operations will expound a little more.
Pero okay, normally, on peak hours, we need what, 13?
Ma'am, 20 po.
Kulang
Back
nga
one
pa
slide. Isa lang.
So sa ngayon, 10 pa lang tayo. We're hoping
Yes.
by Feb,
Yes.
right? By the end of Feb or
By the end of February, ma'am.
okay, and then
we would ang target po natin, ma'am, is to get back to 15 after po the 3.5 days shutdown that we do pagka Holy Week po.
okay. Okay. All right.
Ma'am, there are 3 major classifications po siguro ng spare parts that we have been procuring to date. Una po is yung first batch na tinatawag namin, which is really a varied, iba-ibang klase pong spare parts. We have also already submitted po a list of all of those. Yung pangalawa po, which is major, is yung related po sa signaling natin. One of our top 3 causes po for failure incidents are signaling related. Last July 2017, we invited our OEM signaling supplier, Bombardier, to do po a system audit on MRT-3. Based on their system audit, there were 2 major conclusions. Number 1, yung nasabi ko nga po kanina na meron pong mga components ang signaling system natin na hindi na po OEM. Yung iba po meron pang modifications na hindi po nila maintindihan kung paano po ginawa. And number 2, we really need to stock up on spare parts for signaling, and there's a lot of signaling subcomponents that needs restoration. So noong February 6 po, ma'am, we already signed an agreement with Bombardier. They will come back with 2 contracts. Contract number 1 po would be a restock of all of the OEM signaling spare parts that we need. And contract number 2 po would be a maintenance contract. It's not just a maintenance, a restoration. They will restore our signaling to a more reliable state.
when will I'm sorry, Yusek, when will the signaling system arrive from Bombardier?
Ma'am, the spare parts po ang request mo nila is 7 weeks sa kontrata. Pero ma'am, we ask them po na as the spare parts become available, paki-deliver na. Kasi ma'am, meron pong spare parts, signaling lang po, merong signaling spare parts na available off the shelf in some warehouse of Bombardier somewhere around the world. Meron pong signaling spare parts na hindi, actually ma'am, nag-favor na lang kami. Ipo-pull out po nila from committed orders. So, they have to work on that po. Kasi ma'am, yung iba po nilang kliyente, hindi naman, mapapakiusapan naman daw po. Kasi hindi ganun ka-urgent yung...
Oo, kasi may stock sila siguro.
hindi tulad
Tayo, wala.
Hindi tulad natin, ma'am. And yung
Magkano yung signaling system? I'm just curious. For a full signaling system, not just components of it or parts of it.
Ma'am, one figure that we've seen in the yun pong rehab works natin, umaabot po siya ng 400 million US dollars just for the upgrade.
For one signaling system?
Yes, ma'am.
How many do you need?
Ay, ma'am, that's the entire system po. For everything, ma'am.
$400 million?
Yes, ma'am.
Ilan yun sa billion pesos? 4 times 50?
Ay, sorry.
No, 400
Sorry, ma'am,
million pesos.
mali. 400 million pesos. For upgrade.
Teka muna, talo na yung national
Sorry, ma'am.
budget natin. I'm like, namutla ako doon for a second.
For upgrade
okay.
po, for upgrade.
Okay, 400 million
Yes,
pesos for the entire, okay. So we're talking about a little less than $10 million.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Kaya pa yon.
Yes.
Pero ano lang. Pero kailan matatapos lahat itong signaling system upgrade?
Ma'am,
7 weeks.
Hindi ma'am, delivery pa lang po yun.
Delivery pa
Opo,
rin yun.
delivery
So,
pa lang po yun. Umpisa pa lang po actually ng delivery ng spare parts. 7 weeks po yung request nila for everything. Tapos po, once the spare parts start coming in, so yun po yung una nilang kontrata, supply of spare parts. Yung pangalawa po nilang kontrata is yung restoration and maintenance po. So, ang hinihingi po nila is 6 months to bring the reliability back up.
so we're talking for 7 weeks or less.
Yes.
But totally 6 months.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So dun muna tayo. Tatanungin, I'll get my checklist out of the way. Then we can go back to if you have anything else to add. So the spare parts have arrived but in increments. Meron nga isang Facebook na tawa ko kasi ang pinakitang parts yung mga dumating na pang maintenance yung WD-40. Hindi naman siguro. Kita mo
Hindi
yan?
may dumadating na pong bearings tsaka mga axle, mga pinions po.
Hindi naman yon. Pag mga ganun, wag naman ninyo pakunan na ng litrato yun. Okay. Tayo lang yung natatawa na dito kasi parang it's the hopelessness of the situation sometimes, no? Okay. So, spare parts, then Sumitomo. Ano na sabi ng Sumitomo? Yes, nililigawan niyo pa rin kasi inayawan ninyo noon eh. So, scorned yan eh. So, ngayon, did they agree to finally be our maintenance provider?
Ma'am, with the help of the government in Japan and a lot of efforts po to negotiate at a diplomatic level by the Secretary, Japan po is already helping us. Last January 9 po, we already exchanged note verbals between the two governments. The system audit by JICA engineers is ongoing. Nag-umpisa po yan noong February 1. And 150 engineers po are coming in and out of the MRT-3 to assess everything po that we need to fully restore the system to its design capacity.
Yusek, we need visuals, no? I mean, you're saying 150 engineers. Are they mostly Japanese, Filipinos?
Combined po ma'am, mostly Filipinos.
Dapat, mostly.
Yes, ma'am.
Galing dito sa Pilipinas?
Yes, ma'am.
Meron pala tayo, pero Japan pa is the one getting them. How come?
Ma'am, if you would recall, ma'am, nung nandito po si Sumitomo for the first 12 years, they also had their own team.
So where are those
railway.
engineers now deployed? If they were here the whole time, why didn't we get them before?
Ma'am, good question.
Kung saan-saan lang sila. Okay, you need to take pictures and show us.
Sige po, ma'am.
Na
Ma'am,
yung mga engineer ninyo. Ha?
napansin po namin yung number kasi they submitted a request for passes. Nung una po, we were expecting only 50 engineers. That was the initial discussion. But when they submitted their request for passes to the system, 150 po yung nakalistang mo.
Wow. Okay, now, with Sumitomo, just for the record, they haven't, it's just a note verbal for now.
Yes, by their
They're
government.
doing an audit, at which time, after they come up with an analysis of the situation, will they actually commit? When are they giving themselves?
March
Until?
15, ma'am.
Huh?
March 15 is the deadline for them to submit their audit report. For
How about
the,
the
ano po ma'am,
commitment?
the system audit po will finish by March 15. After we know what needs to be done, then we are going to go to the next step po. We are going to negotiate and finalize the terms of the official development assistance and the appointment process for the service provider.
Ano to, ODA?
ODA po to, ma'am.
So government to government
Yes,
na to?
ma'am.
Okay.
The
Alright.
Japanese government has
So-
their goodwill and track record at stake in restoring MRT.
Okay, so realistically, if we receive the systems audit from Sumitomo March 15, we're looking at by April, you will probably have an idea when you will be signing finally an agreement with Sumitomo. All right, next question. Dalian trains. You had your test this morning.
Yes.
For what purpose is this? Di ba sinabi nga mabigat? Tapos yung ating release na medyo may problemado na. Ano ba tawag dito? You risked running those trains there? O, paano yun?
Ma'am, the testing, yung pagpatakbo po ng Dalian, actually yesterday po ma'am and today and baka po a few more times in the next few days, are part po of the audit and assessment being done by TUV Rhineland on the Dalian trains. So part po, kasi ma'am, actually TUV Rhineland po, ang coverage nila is not just the Dalian trains, it's the entire MRT-3 system. So they just really have to go through all of the motions, all of the steps, all of the checklists para po talaga comprehensive yung audit assessment report that they will issue.
Okay. When will they come up with their analysis or their conclusions?
Ma'am, the TUV Rhineland contract has a 3-month period. They started po last January 3 and they should be done po by the end of March. Yung sa Dalian trains po, nag-request kami sa kanila, although meron po kasi silang strict audit procedures na sinusunod, but we requested if pwede pong mauna sana. So we're working on that.
Okay. Yeah, but you've already been testing those trains, right? Okay. Here's my question. Umpisa pa lang, mabigat na yon. Okay. Common sense naman for Rhineland, di ba? Why are you even going to risk trying those already considered to be overweight trains on our tracks that supposedly cannot accommodate that weight? Why? Why did we allow them to do that?
Ma'am, part po of what they're looking at are the computations behind the overweight issue.
Hindi ba pwedeng bago mo ipatong sa rail, timbangin mo muna? O it is all over na to. Mr. Bakar, in the private sector?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what's your analysis on this?
First of all, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Roel Bakar of CBNP. We're not presently, we do not have any contracts with government.
You used to, right?
We used to have a contract, but we're here as resource. So we are here to explain on the weight issue of the Dalian trains. As we know of, we made comparison with the manuals of the previous trains because we are familiar with the trains before. And maybe my colleague here, Mr. Rolf Pierre, can explain on the weight issues of the Dalian trains.
Excuse me lang para we're the topic.
Okay, about the weight issue, the description of the Department of Transportation for 2000 says that this train has to have an axle weight of 8.5 to 10 tons. Also not exceeding 10 tons. So I do not know where the terms comes from that the Dalian should be too heavy. I have never seen any weight from the Dalian. But
Is this true? What is the weight of the Dalian train when you received it?
Ma'am, at AW0 condition, it's at 49 tons. That means the unladen or yung wala pong laman na dry weight.
49 tons?
49 tons.
So 30 tons overweight?
Ma'am, that's the weight of the entire train. I think po what
the empty weight.
Yes, that's the empty weight of the entire train. What our resource person is referring to is the axle weight.
No. The axle weight is part of it. But this is the things what I was looking for, what you mentioned now. The 49 tons total weight. Okay? Now, when you divide this 49 tons by 8 axles, then you get the axle load for the empty car. So we are far away from an overloaded car when the car is still empty.
Let me go back, okay? I need to clarify this. I think I
Wait.
have.
Give me some time.
Can you tell me what you have here? Kasi meron din ako dito. Okay, sandali ah. Dami na kasing notes eh, kung ilan yung na-overweight dito eh. What information do you have?
Madam Chair. Ma'am,
If
based on our terms of reference, the AW0 or the dry weight has to be 46.3 tons. Based on the delivered weight, it is 49.7 tons.
Right. The contract requires 46.3 kilogram weight per coach. Per coach. Okay? That's what the contract
Empty
stipulates.
coach.
Empty coach, yes
Empty
sir.
coach.
Of course, we can't really determine like how heavy these people will be, just an average, no? The 48 delivered coaches are 49.6 kilograms each already. So you have about 3,000 kilograms in overweight.
That's correct. Now we have where it comes from. But this is not a termination or a definition of overweight of a loaded train concerning the tracks he's running on it. Okay?
So you're saying, sir, that it will also depend on the capacity of the train.
Correct.
Right, but then you'd always want to assume full capacity at the maximum.
I have it here.
Okay.
The weight is declared from the Department of Transportation to Dalian. And there, they're requesting 394 passenger per vehicle. That means, wait. No, that means they're requesting a load capacity of 8 people per square meter by 65 kilo of weight. Can you people please imagine how you put 8 people, 65 kilos in 1 square meter?
Have you ridden in one of our trains lately? I mean, okay, I would
Okay,
rather err on the side of being cautious about this and to have like cram as many people. I mean, in
Correct,
Japan, you actually kick these people inside so they can fit. So,
Correct.
okay,
There we are.
Right.
With these numbers, we exactly by these kicking procedures in Japan.
Right.
We exactly there. Now, when we go to the weight of this, 394 times 65, that is 25 tons and 600 kilo. When we adding this up now, with this 49.6 tons from the empty vehicle, then we get 75.2 tons. Okay?
okay,
When
sir.
we dividing now the 75.2 tons by axle, then we are way within the limit as required from the DOTR for the axle load for the truck. We're coming to an axle load of only 9.4 tons. And
Okay.
the track system is designed for 10 tons. So where is the problem for overload?
Can you explain this to us in terms of what he's saying now, that when you, this is from, I understand this from the layman's point of view, okay? That if you consider the passengers and all the other things, then it will still fall within the limits that are provided for our tracks. Is that what he's saying, Mr. Hoxon? You were nodding. So you agreed with him. Explain to me why you agree. And what is your position in the MRT, sir?
I'm with GM Garcia, ma'am.
You are with who?
I'm in.
As
with
what?
the
Are you an
office.
engineer, a lawyer?
No. I'm the head executive assistant of GM Garcia.
Okay, sir. maybe somebody with the expertise to be able to understand. Because my point is, okay, maybe in the end, they will be compliant with all of these things put together. But the point is, they've already violated one provision of the contract. That in itself, whether it is filled with people or not, that was the requirement for each coach on the train, correct? So they've already violated that. I don't know why we are wasting time with this, having to run it still. As sinabi nga niyo, pudpud na yung mga reels natin, patakbo pa tayo ng patakbo. But I know, I've also heard in informal talks that if we want to file a case against them, we just have to follow the protocols and deal with Rhineland. Okay.
Be Rhineland.
Is that the reason why we're humoring them?
We are waiting for their independent assessment of trains, ma'am, and part of it could be towards that.
Okay. Well, anyway, this is, how about, Engineer Santiago, what's your opinion on this? Mabigat na yung train, wala pang tao, pero sinasabi nitong technical consultant, if you consider the number of people that can humanly possible fit in the train, we can still fall within the required weight standard. Do you agree with that? If the contract says already this is
I
what
think
it should be?
the consultant was transferring the total train weight into the force on the wheels, so that's why he calculated the number of axle load. And he was saying, in effect, if I understood it correctly, based on the load on the wheels or the axle, it's not overweight. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But based on the specs of the OTR on the entire train or every car, it exceeds the specifications.
Okay. No, sir. No, I understand what you're trying to clarify. We appreciate it. Also, this point of view. On the other hand, the important thing for me, and for most of us here, is number one, we find a solution to our problem now, and we need to be able to use those trains soon. Number two, that the passengers are safe. And number three, that the government is not shortchanged. Okay. Having said those, I think that, kasi puro lang tayo pag-aaral, test, tapos biglang pagkatapos niyan, wala din naman nade-delay pa lalo. Alam mo, this is just the tip of the iceberg. After they fail those tests, we will have to order again. After litigating, okay, so simultaneously litigating and then ordering a new batch of trains. If they say, no, we can do something about it, let's say Rhineland decides, no, we can do something about it, we still have to be able to, and I heard this also informally, do something about it to push. I'm not an engineer, pero may gagawin tayo dyan para makayanan yung mga ano na yan. So, another point of delay. So, right now, what we're saying is, Rhineland will come up with their decision by when?
By the end of March for the entire system, but we are pushing to get their even preliminary evaluation on just the Dalian trains by the end of this month.
Okay, here's my question. Let's say they say, okay, in Dalian, okay, Dalian can work on those tracks and you're not going to be in any danger. So we'll accept it, right? How long will it take for us to be able to use those? How many and when?
Ma'am, my understanding is we can, assuming ma'am, we don't want to preempt the audit, but assuming that it can be cleared without condition, because it's one thing to be cleared without condition and to be cleared without condition. If they clear it without condition, then we can use them right away.
Right away. So, ang dami bigla nun, di ba? Okay. I'd like to acknowledge and thank Senator Angara. Thank you. Finally, legal na tong hearing na may call. Alright. So, balitaan nyo kami. Because that will make a remarked difference if finally we can utilize those trains. I mean, I am not praying for the failure of these trains. In fact, I'm one of the ones who would want to see it utilized, but of course not at the expense of the safety of our passengers, and I would agree. Now, we will go to the, I guess, the crux of the matter, the important part here, the update on the ombudsman case. Okay, dito na siguro papasok yung bayan, or did you want to add something to the discussions earlier?
Well, ano po, may idadagdag din po kami. Although, we'd like to put on record that Bayan, Tren, different commuter groups filed a complaint before the Office of the Ombudsman last November. At hinihintay na po namin, dahil ang understanding namin after the submission ng reply namin, it's now submitted for resolution. So, hopefully in the coming months, magkaroon na po ng linaw yung kinaabutan po nung kaso.
Ano ba yung kaso ninyo ng November? Ano yung graft, plunder?
Graft po yung sa amin, tsaka yung sa procurement laws.
So, sino yung mga kinasuhan niyo doon?
Ang kasama ko sa mga respondents doon ay sina Secretary Abaya, ilang mga opisyal ng DOTC nung panahon niya, at kasama po yung Buri.
Okay.
Pero,
do you have anything to add?
Karagdagan lang po, ma'am. Kasi I've been listening to the DOTR, no? Batid po siguro ng komite na kaninang umaga, may mga pasahero na naman ng MRT na naglakad sa Riles, no? And this was happening even before 7 a.m. Bago mag-alas 7 ng umaga, may mga commuters na naglalakad sa Riles ng MRT. At hanggang ngayon po, sa tinatakbo ng hearing, wala ho tayong narinig na pag-ako ng responsibilidad mula sa DOTR. Wala hong paghingi ng paumanhin sa mga commuters, walang pag-ako ng responsibilidad. Kasi po ang maintenance po ng MRT ngayon ay DOTR na eh. Hindi na po nila pwedeng ituro ang Buri kasi terminate na po nila yung kontrata. Ngayon, para din po sa kabatiran ng komite, ang DOTR po pumasok sa ilang negotiated procurements bago matapos ang taong 2017. December 29, 7.3 million spare parts for tracks. December 29, 8.6 million for rolling stocks. December 29, 1.98 million for bearings. December 29, 2.8 million various spare parts. December 27, 6.4 million various spare parts. December 19, 45.3 million independent audit, yung binabanggit po kanina. Ito po, ako na po ng gobyerno to at pera ng taong bayan po yung ginagamit para sa mga negotiated procurements na to. At syempre, ang mga commuters at taxpayers gustong makakita ng resulta doon sa anong nangyayari sa ating pera.
Pero alam nyo, Mr. Reyes, syempre December yan, no?
Yes,
Magka-holiday rin. Kaya medyo na-late
ito
na
po,
rin.
no, kahapon po, yung Monday, no, tumirik po yung tren, bine-blame nila electrical failure. October 7, 2016, the DOTR through Secretary Tugade awarded a contract worth 827 million for the upgrade of ancillary systems. So medyo mahaba-habang panahon to, 827 million pesos worth ng kontrata para ayusin yung electrical system.
Kanina binigayan?
Nandun po sa website po nila.
So natanggap na yan? To upgrade the electrical system?
That was 2016. According to the records of the MRT, binigay po sa AsiaPhil. Nasa website naman po nila yan. So, kumbaga may sapat na panahon na mula noong inaward yung kontratang ito para din makakita ng resulta na hindi na po pumapalpak yung electrical system ng MRT-3 pero hindi po natin yun narinig mula sa report ng DOTR.
Negotiated procurement din ba to? Negotiated contract yung sa AsiaPhil?
Nilibid po nila yung sa AsiaPhil. Siguro magandang magkaroon din ng update matapos yung awarding ng kontrata at implementation nito kung bakit patuloy pa nakakaranas ng electrical failures yung ating tren.
Oo nga. Di ba itong AsiaPhil, yan din yung contractor ng Clark Development Corporation? Oo. So, kakilala na ni Secretary Tugade yan. Nung panahon niya yan.
Malamang po.
May mga nag-bid ba o isa lang?
Ang nakita po namin kasi sa records ng MRT-3
nag-grant na
yung nag-grant na yung rebid para dun sa ancillary services. Bukod pa doon sa mga inaward na at yung mga tinatanong natin kung paano nagamit yung pera ng bayan, ang isa tanong din namin, paano ba talaga gumagana yung maintenance transition team? who is on top of it, sino ho yung dapat nananagot tuwing merong pumapalya. Hindi po kasi malinaw kanina doon sa ulat. Ang information namin, marami po dyan ay dati rin pong mga engineers at technicians ng Busan. They brought in senior engineers from LRTA at the start, pero binalik din nila sa LRTA. Sino po ang nangunguna at responsable doon sa maintenance transition team? Pangalawa po, sa question of leadership, no? Ano ho ang nagiging papel ng DOTR Secretary every time na mayroong tumitirik na tren? Our information is that for the entire year of 2017, the DOTR Secretary did not visit the MRT-3 depot. Hindi hands-on na tumitingin doon sa kalagayan ng ating mga tren.
Sino to? Si Secretary?
Secretary Tugade.
Hindi niya pinupuntahan?
For the entire year of 2017,
Sabi niya,
the report...
incognito daw siya eh. Talaga, naka-cap daw. Oh. Okay.
Ang hinihingi po dito sana yung hands-on nilang pagtugon dun sa problema dahil nga araw-araw po tumitirik ho yung tren eh. So kinakailangan po siguro dito mula sa secretary meron ng pagtingin. Nasaan din po ang MRT-3 General Manager tuwing may aberya. No? Hindi po din natin siya naririnig masyado at nakikita nagpapaliwanag ng kalagayan ng train system natin sa araw-araw na nagkakaroon din ng aberya.
Sino ang General Manager? Garcia, di ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Nakakaintindi ba siya?
Yes naman po.
Sinabi niya okay yung Dalian train, di ba? Hindi, pero ito yung sinasabi natin. May punto rin si Mr. Reyes dito. Kailangan natin yung marunong ng mga technical na aspeto nitong mga pinapatakbo natin kasi kung puro magaling ka nga sa isang bagay pero hindi naman yan ang dapat mong pag-ukulan ng pansin, paano magiging maayos ang pagpapatakbo ng train na nga natin. Teka muna sir, actually yung Busan kasi marami pang ibang issue dito bago natin tapusin.
Meron lang, maikli lang pong
Sige.
karagdagan lang po. No? Kanina po kasi nabanggit yung equity rental payments, may $12 million kada taon. We would like to know officially anong stand ng DOTR kaugnay ng equity rental payments na yon. Tingin nyo ba yun ay labis-labis, it is unjust? Was this born out of an onerous contract na hindi na ho nararapat? Kasi kung tingin nyo may problema, yung sobrang laking binabayad natin, dapat merong gawing hakbang. Karagdagan po at kaugnay noon, ang kontrata po supposedly ay matatapos na nga sa 2025. No? So 7 years na lang po itong kontratang ito sa MRT-3 at ibibigay na sa gobyerno yung pag-aari ng riles, lahat ng struktura dyan, turnover na po yan sa gobyerno based sa terms ng BLT. Ang tanong din po namin, ano pong ginagawang paghahanda ng gobyerno sa ganong eventuality? Kasi matatapos din ho yung kontrata eh. So, ibibigay na po sa gobyerno everything, you know? Mga poste, mga riles, lahat po yan. So, pag nasa gobyerno na yan, anong gagawin po natin dyan? Hindi ho ba natin dapat pinaghahandaan yan ngayon pa lang para magkaroon tayo ng long-term plan at proposal kung anong gagawin ng gobyerno pag nasa atin na ang pag-aari ng tren?
Tama ka rin doon. Di ba meron ng proposal ng Metro Pacific na i-take over at i-privatize na yan? They will assume all of the liabilities, if I'm correct. But of course, they'll be subject to regulation also that they can't hike. I think this is something that we should seriously also look into. But before that, I think, sorry kasi magsa-start na kami. Pangako ko sa ating mga kababayan, dahil kayo ay nag-file na ng kaso sa ombudsman. Diba? December lang ninyo na-file, kaya hindi masyadong napansin ng taong bayan ano yung mga final ninyo. Pakisabi, ano ba yung final ninyo at sino ang mga respondents doon?
Okay. Ma'am, yung nai-file po na kaso ay both for plunder and violation of our Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. Ang mga respondents po natin doon, ma'am, from the former DOTC, si Secretary Junabaya, Yusek Lopez, Yusek Limcauco, Yusek Gonzalez, GM Buenafe, Asek Alcaraz, the relevant members po of the back, officers and stockholders of Buri, and members po of the GPPB. Yun po yung mga respondents dun sa mga kaso na yun. Status po, ma'am, The different respondents have filed their counter
Yun
affidavit.
lang ba? Parang kulang pa. Meron ka pang iba, di ba?
Ma'am, sa GPPB po marami. Mar Rojas, Secretary Abad, Purisima, Petilia,
Anong GPPB?
the Government Procurement Board po, ma'am.
Okay. So marami sila.
Yes, ma'am.
Pero yung problema, di ba, may mga chismis na hindi sila nag-attend ng board meeting. Pero sasabihin, ipirma mo na lang ako. Yun ba ay paramount na dapat ikaw ay managot rin?
Ma'am, I hope you don't mind if I limit my comments on that case.
No, so that's fine. So all of them, not just one particular group, are plunder ang kaso, hindi lamang graft. Okay. Anong status ngayon? Kasama ba dyan yung buri?
Yes, ma'am.
Kasama, okay. Anong status ngayon sa ombudsman?
Ma'am, nag-file na po ng counter affidavits yung mga respondents and ang gagawin po ng legal department ng DOTR is to file a consolidated na reply po doon sa mga counter affidavits ninyo.
So when will you be able to, well, hopefully if the ombudsman decides that the case will prosper, when are you looking at this, what is the timeline for this case to actually be heard?
Ma'am, I'm sorry po. Wala po kasi yung
May
lawyers
abogado
namin.
tayo dito. Baka may
I mean,
tanong.
not within their command because it's the ombudsman who will set the hearings, Madam Chair, no? Madam Chair, is it possible to ask a few questions? Can we ask, what is the subsidy, the total subsidy for 2017 for the MRT-3 and for the whole MRT-LRT system?
Sir, for 2017, looking po at the 3 MRT-3 sub-items. Sir, hold on po. I'll just quickly,
So just a ballpark figure, like 2016, magkano ang ginastos ng taong bayan para patakbuhin yung MRT at para i-subsidize yung ticket ng ating mga kababayan?
Sir, para po doon sa operations, meron po tayong 1.5 billion pesos.
Okay.
Para po doon sa subsidy, yung renta po natin, 4.8 billion pesos.
Maybe just one figure for operations and how much is for the ticket subsidy?
Sir, it would be this combined. Tatlong line items po kasi ang MRT-3 sa
Sige.
budget. Unang line item po yung equity rental payments natin, which was 4.8 billion pesos in 2017. Yun pong operational budget po natin, which is 1.5 billion pesos in 2017. And yung pangatlo po is yung tinatawag natin na rehabilitation and capacity expansion, which is 1 billion pesos naman po in 2017.
Saan nanggagaling yung sinasubsidize sa kada? What's the cost of a ticket? The actual cost, not the what the commuter pays.
Sir, we're range po from 15 to 29. So yun
That's
po
the actual
yung
cost.
sir, yun po yung fare box.
That's the fare.
Yes, the
Oo.
fare.
But what is the actual cost? Meaning, if you add the subsidy of the
Ganito
government?
po, sir. Sir, when we measure po our subsidy level, we make a distinction po between covering yung OPEX, which is yung 1.5 billion po natin, and covering po yung tinatawag natin na original
Magkano na lang
capital.
ginastos sa 2017 on that?
Sir, total po is 5.7, 6.1 billion pesos.
6.1 billion. So if you divide that by how many riders in the year, that will give you the figure, right?
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, I have the revenue figure po for 2017, which is 2.8 billion pesos. So we are looking at a 4 billion peso subsidy.
Okay. It says in your presentation you have 6 to 9 trains running. I think you said earlier there are 7 trains running. Pero how do we get back to the original intention na 20 yung tren na tumatakbo? When can we expect? When can the public? I think what the public wants to hear is not just bad news. They want to hear good news, di ba? So anong may papangako natin sa publiko?
Sir, in the short to medium term po, we can restore additional trains with arrival of the spare parts that we have already ordered. Our target po, based on our operations plan, basta po walang bumagsak na additional na tren, is umakyat po tayo ng 10 trains by the end of February. And after po no Holy Week, 3.5 day po natin na maintenance shutdown, back to 15 trains. Pero the long term po talaga na pag-restore ng 20 trains, hindi lang po pag-restore kasi iba po yung availability ng 20 trains, iba po yung dun sa reliability nila, yung hindi po pumapalya habang tumatakbo. Kailangan po talaga natin ng general overhaul. And yung general overhaul program po natin with our rehabilitation service provider is a 3-year program po that will begin in May of this year.
Pero I'd like to get from your office a report on the electrical upgrade, yung 800 million na nabigay. Kasi, bakit? Yun ang nagiging problema ngayon eh. Kasi yung nakita ko the past 2 days, di ba? Or kaya tumigil yung, yung pagpapatakbo. Yes, please.
Ma'am, if I may just quickly comment po on the points raised. First of all, ma'am, I think there is not one public interview that I have given or that the Secretary has given on MRT-3 kung saan po hindi kami nagpaumanhin at humingi po ng dispensa. Mahirap po, ma'am, yung responsibilidad nyo yung ganong karaming tao. And sinasite po namin, ma'am, yung previous experience, not because we're blaming, but because we're showing the people that we understand the problem. Mahalaga po kasi yun. So, nagpapaumanhin po kami dyan.
Malaking problema talaga to. And alam mo, Yusek Batan, nadadama ko yung iyong malasakit eh. Alam mo si Yusek Batan, galing yan sa nakaraang administrasyon. Kinuha rin yan dahil nakita ang kanyang potensyal dahil dati nandun lang siya sa likod. Hindi, wala naman siyang managerial na or decision ano. But thank you for staying on because we need institutional knowledge. You're not here to be crucified. It's just that people want to know when their lives will be better. Kung umiyak tayong lahat dito, kasi naawa ka rin eh.
Yes, ma'am, that's true. Ma'am, if I may comment po, the Secretary, tuwing napapadaan po yan sa pila ng MRT-3, walang palya po, ma'am. Tumatawag siya sa akin. Asking what's the problem, bakit may pila, bakit kami hindi doon magpadala ng bus, nasa na yung spare parts. Ma'am, I guess I started the presentation with the context of how big the railways pipeline is of this government. And ma'am, railways pa lang po yun. Wala pa po yung aviation.
How much are we going to spend for 2018 on railways?
For 2018, sir, we are at 70 billion po, including the unprogrammed appropriations.
So you have 20 trains at peak hours of 550,000, pero yung actual nyo is 250,000 passengers per day. Eh pag nakompleto lahat ng program nyo, para we have something, para may hope naman yung tao. After 5 years, for example, or 4 years, ilan nang, by how much can we increase the ridership?
Sir, currently po, there are only 10% of commuters daily in Metro Manila that use rail. That translates to 1.1 million passengers. By the end po of our Phase 1 pipeline in 2022, our target is to service with railway services 30% of the ridership. That will bring it up po to 3 million passengers a day
Pero
in Metro Manila.
Hindi na siya 30% kasi moving target.
That's right, sir.
It will no longer be.
That's
Is
right,
it 30% of the adjusted?
Alam mo naman yung ating magaling yan sa mata.
Kasi the population is growing by so much, leaps and bounds. So dapat i-factor in yun sa, di ba? Sa projection.
Ma'am, quickly lang po on the 827 million Asiaphil contract. Ma'am, yung capacity expansion project po natin, which includes the Dalian trains, was divided into 3. Yung Lot 1 po na tinatawag natin, yan yung 48 Dalian trains. Yung Lot 2 po, yung na-mention, is yung tinatawag natin na ancillary system. And yung Lot 3 po, yan yung tinatawag natin na signaling upgrade. Lahat po nitong Lots 1, 2, and 3 are necessary po to make the 48 trains plus the original fleet operational. So ito pong kontrata ng Asiaphil, what does it involve? It involve po building additional power substations. Kasi pag nagdagdag ka po ng additional na trend, kailangan mo rin po ng additional na kuryente. It involves po laying down new catenaries kasi again, tataas po yung power requirement. Additional po na relays doon sa ating Taft para po magkasya yung 4-car train. So lahat po nitong Lot 2 na tinatawag natin na kontrata na inaward po natin noong October 2017 following a competitive bidding are intended po sana doon po sa increase in capacity natin na 72
train.
ngayon plus 48, hindi po siya nakaukol doon sa pagpapabuti nung current na system. Pang-expansion po talaga siya.
Okay.
Just to clarify that.
So, before I close, actually, I'll give you 1 minute, Buri. You have something to add?
Thank you, Madam Senator. We welcome the opportunity to be present and clarify some of the issues regarding the MRT. Madam Senator, the good Undersecretary began his talk with the implication that part of the problem of the MRT lies in the alleged failure of the former maintenance provider to procure spare parts, and likewise that because of certain short-term maintenance providers that compounded the problem. We respectfully disagree, Madam Senator. The problem of the MRT is systemic because at the time, as we have already presented during the hearing last May 15 before this very same committee, at the time that the trains and tracks were new, there were already glitches, even during the tenure of Sumitomo.
No, Attorney, I know you have to represent them, but let me ask you,
Yes,
did you really fulfill all of the inventory requirements? I think
Madam Senator, if I
because
may,
why are they scrambling now to order
if
those
I may,
parts?
if I may, Madam Senator,
Yes.
It's a matter of procedure on the part of Buri when it submits the monthly billings that it would likewise submit the invoices of the spare parts that were purchased. Now, we purchased spare parts even up to that time, the last billing period being from September 19 to October 18. Even if at that point in time, we have not been paid by the DOTR for 6 successive billing periods, Madam Witness. So, Madam Senator, I'm sorry. So we actually purchased spare parts, and we could not have maintained the spare parts. We could not have maintained the train availability at around 18 trains at peak hours, and if we did not purchase the required spare parts, Madam Senator.
You know what? You have merit to what you're saying, because right now it's actually worse. But it could also be the wear and tear of the train and also the lack of parts. But this is not. This is really in aid of legislation and also oversight. If you'd want to be able to take up also whatever issues you have, that would probably be in the court already at this point.
Madam Senator,
Yes.
it's precisely because of that I wish to point out, Madam Senator, that around July of 2007, we have given the July 7 of 2017, we have submitted to Secretary Tugade a list of the design flaws of the MRT-3 system. We are of the position that it is systemic because the glitches continue to this very day when it's already...
Sir, I think we've established that.
Yes,
that
yes,
the problem is systemic. We don't need anymore an expert opinion on that. A lot... In the past, they've already dropped the ball. When you came in, the problem was already there. Unfortunately, we all have our shortcomings here. And now where we need to be is how can we make up for lost time and how we can make it up to our passengers. So just to recap, because now I'm going to close, a few of the dates that were submitted to us, I think end of March, after the delivery of the other spare parts, we will hopefully have 10 trains that are running. And then after the Holy Week, we will hopefully have 15 trains that are running. And then after, if Rhineland agrees to have those trains operational, then, you know, we can even expect more. But definitely the signaling system, which is the Lot 2 program for the electrical upgrade, will have to be also addressed. So these are all the things that we need to consider. But for now, we would like for the DOTR to upgrade us regularly. If you have any delays, don't wait for a hearing. Give us an advisory, because normally people really look to us to make sure that we keep you on your toes and your deliverables. Okay. And we appreciate your work. We know that this is public service. This is a sacrifice on your part, especially you, Mr. Batan. We need the fixed timetable for the completion of repairs and rehabilitation instead of open-ended assurances and vague promises. You would have been there ready for more than 2 years. I think we can't use anymore the excuse that bago lang kasi kami dito. Now you'd have to be able to offer something in return to our passengers. We're a bit emotional because we see it every day. Nawawalan tayo ng 2 oras, 3 oras para makasama ang ating pamilya. Lahat naman tayo nagtatrabaho, kaya nga nandito tayo ngayon. Yung oras na hindi natin nakakasama yung mga mahal natin sa buhay, hindi naman, it's not so much to ask of the government to make it a little bit more convenient for us, right? So for now, we will adjourn this hearing because we'd like to do a committee report. Thank you for your presence.
At yan po ang pagdinig ng Senate Committee on Public Services ngayong araw, kaugnay sa management at maintenance ng MRT-3. Kanina po ay napag-usapan ng overhauling sa MRT at inusisa ni Senator Grace po ang proseso sa modernization at problema sa MRT. Sinabi po ni Yusek TJ Batan ng DOTR na isa raw sa problema ay ang signaling system. At umaabot daw ang halaga nito sa 400 million pesos kada isang signaling system. Abot naman sa 7 linggo bago raw ito ma-deliver. Aabutin naman ng 6 na buwan ang pag-upgrade sa signaling system. Napag-usapan din ang bigat ng dial and chains na binili ng gobyerno at mas mabigat ito kaysa sa nakasaad sa kontrata. Sabi naman ni Renato Reyes ng Bayan ay nasa DOTR na raw ang responsibilidad para sa maintenance ng MRT dahil kinansila na ang kontrata sa Buri. At dagdag pa ni Yusek Batan, kailangan daw ang general overhaul ng MRT na aabutin ng 3 taon at magsisimula ito sa Marso. Sa ngayon daw kasi abot sa 1 milyon ang mga pasahero na kayang serbisyohan ng MRT at kapag natapos daw ang modernization project ng DOTR ay kaya ng serbisyohan ng abot sa 3 milyong katao.